I have been doing this sort of thing for 45 years. I have never, ever seen something done so well, so quickly, and with such collaboration and dedication in that entire 45 years. So we're going to brag on Montgomery County today. I want to start by introducing some of our speakers, and I've gotten the indulgence of the county executive to recognize some particular people who deserve and have earned recognition. But obviously we want to begin with County Executive Mark Elrich. Mark, thank you. Council President Gabe Albornoz. Council Vice President and Chair, Chief of Lead for the on Homelessness, Evan Glass. Council Vice President, Dr. Raymond Crowell with Health and Human Services. And Montgomery County Coalition of the Homeless CEO, Susie Sinclair Smith is with us. And probably one of the best speakers. I love it when we actually have someone who knows what it's like and who's going to be able to share with us, saving the best for last on our program, Mr. Terrence Hill. Thank you for being here. Also with us are Council Member Andrew Friedson, District 1. Andrew. And I thought Sydney was going to be here. Councilmember Sydney Katz. What's that?
Craig Rice.
Oh, Councilmember Craig Rice just walked in. Where did he go? Oh, there he is. All right. A little outside of his district, but certainly within the portfolio of his interests and concerns. Thanks for being here, Craig. Also representing Senator Christopher Van Hollen, Patrick McCarthy. Patrick, I saw you somewhere. There he is. All right. Maryland District 18 Delegate Al Carr is with us today. Delegate Carr. Also from District 18, Jared Solomon. Thank you for being here as well. Also from Jamie Raskin, Congressman Jamie Raskin's Representative Joseph Young. Joseph, there he is. All right. And now indulge me, I think those are all the dignitaries that we're going to recognize today. If I missed you, please forgive me. Now I want to recognize the heroes, the champions. As I said, in 45 years, I've never seen a project like this that should have taken 12 or more months, take 5.5 months to complete. And it happened because of an outstanding effort from a lot of different people. I've already mentioned Dr. Crowell heading HHS, and we'll hear from him in a moment, but his expert and lead and chief motivator and helping us get this done right, Amanda Harris from Health and Human Services. And Amanda can't get anything done without Mr. Angel Garcia Blanque. Angel, in the back, as he normally is, getting things done. So thank you all, really, this has been fantastic. Now, I'm going to brag on the DGS team and contractors. Whenever we start a project, and this project didn't have a groundbreaking, but when we normally do a groundbreaking, I always promise to publish the names of the project team and their home phone numbers and addresses on the project website, so that if there's complaints, you know who to go to. But really, honestly, these folks had done just an amazing job. So I'm going to start with recognizing the DGS team on this. Greg Assant, Deputy Director for Capital Projects. Hamid Omidvar, Director of my Building Design and Construction Division. And probably the most go-gettingest go-getter of every go-getter I've ever known, Rasa Davenpur. Where's Rasa? She's the section chief that ran this project. The project manager was Mariam Zarif. Where's Mariam? Mariam's probably running, oh, there she is, with her husband who knows what it's like to run a nasty project or two, David. Michael Kay, I don't know if Michael's here today or not, but Michael Kay really helped us work through a lot of civil engineering issues and with the utilities and did an exceptional job. The construction rep, the guy who's here checking everything out and walking off on final inspections and coordinating everything, Ramon Kamaya could not be with us, but he deserves recognition. And then Lastly, from DGS, I want to recognize Leslie Clark. Where did Leslie go? She's in the back with her crew. Leslie Clark is the property manager for our facilities division. And Leslie is second only to Rasa Davupur in getting things done. I couldn't live without Leslie around, but the facilities, I just got to tell you, 2 days ago, this parking lot was a mess. Just 2 days ago, this parking lot was a mess. And they came in on Thursday, sealed it and striped it. It looks brand new, and that's because of these people getting things done. I also see Mary Beck from our Office of Management and Budget here, and thank you, Mary, for supporting us throughout this whole thing. Mary's wallet usually hurts whenever she sees my name in an email, but we couldn't get this done. Also want to thank, I don't know if he's here or not, ACAO Jake Weisman. If Jake's not here, he should be. Jake really helped us push to the end and coordinate things with the utilities. Just a few weeks ago, you couldn't get in and out of this site because of the utility work happening in the street. Jake worked with WSSC and Washington Gas, and I want to thank those two utilities for collaborating, working with us very cooperatively to get this job done. But Jake Weissman was instrumental in that. We also had some dynamic contractors, a couple of them who are here, so I want to recognize them. CDCI is a contractor that we have who takes on some of our nasty project, ably led by their owner and president, Ziba Parsa. Ziba, where are you? There she is. Ziba's an amazing person. Also, another company that does exceptional work for us whenever we call them, CBS, represented today by Matt Worth. Where's Matt? Saw him somewhere. There he is, right there. So, again, the collaboration that has taken place to make this happen. You don't know what it's like to take on projects like this, and I'm going to let Mark talk about the timing and the time frame and getting these things done. But it doesn't happen without these folks getting there. I'm just the eye candy. They're the ones that actually get the stuff done. Hey, what? But these are the folks that really get these things done, and I think they deserve recognition. Let's give them another round of applause. I did forget a couple of folks. Also with us today are from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, Mr. Marvin Turner. Where's Marvin? There he is. Okay, thank you. Appreciate everything that you guys do with us and for us. And if I've left anyone else off, please forgive me. I want you all to be proud of this. This joint effort between contractors, county staff, representatives not here today from our Department of Permitting Services, but they deserve a big thank you too. We met when this project started, and Mark gave us an impossible goal and an even more impossible deadline. We brought everyone together and said, we have to make this happen. The folks from our Office of Procurement, from our Permitting Services group, we all got together, understood the mission. And I think that's what I'm most proud of, that this building and this opening today represents in tangible form Montgomery County's commitment to help homelessness, to address it, and to ensure a better future for those who find themselves in this place. So be proud of yourselves, because it's because of your commitment and it's because of these people working on your behalf that we are going to be a part of a solution that's long in coming. This is all led, all of it, initiated, encouraged, and supported by one individual who I've really enjoyed working for because of his drive. He's a little annoying sometimes because he knows how to build stuff, and he'll walk around one of our projects and say, well, why did you do that? So we try only to invite him at ribbon cutting so that he doesn't annoy me the rest of the time. But I want to welcome to the podium County Executive Mark Elder. Mark?
Unfortunately, I think some of what David said is true. I walked through there and there was a door that I thought should have window on it. The good news is when I told your staff there ought to be windows on these doors, they said yes, they're ordered. I'm really excited to be here. This is a big moment. I came on the council in 2006, and people have been talking about ending homelessness. And we talked about ending homelessness. We made some great strides with veterans, with families. We made a lot of progress. But with all that said, we still had more than 400 homeless. And we sit with, a policy where you sleep outside most of the year. And we kick you out in the cold. And that was Montgomery County's policy, which seems pretty inconsistent with one of the wealthiest countries in the nation that have that to be the homelessness policy for so long. But it was always limited by, it's always limited by resources. Anytime you have these discussions, like where are you going to get the money from? So I guess in the winter of 2020, I realized that, COVID is going to end and people are, we're going to go back to normal. And I thought about what that meant for the people we had in our shelters, because for the first time, we had taken everybody off the street. And I just said to myself, I have no way I can kick people out of shelter and say go back to the street. I wasn't going to do that. And it would have been just wrong. I mean, how do you take something away from people who don't have anything and then say, now the woods are fine, you can go back there again? And so I gave David this impossible mission. I said, I want to find a building and I want to build a shelter. And I want it to be a large shelter. I want to be able to house as many people as we possibly can. So this shelter can house 200 people, and that's what it's set up for, but it could house possibly up to 290 if it were ever needed to do that. So that's not insignificant. And I have thoughts about a second building to make sure we've taken care of everybody possible, but I feel we are so close finally to saying that we have made it so that anybody who wants to sleep indoors can sleep indoors. And that is a big deal. Having talked to people who provide this work, do this work, one of the things that I got over the years was how hard it is to help people when they don't have a bed and you don't have a regular way to get in touch with them. And it's basic things like delivering medicine. How do you make sure somebody gets their meds every day? How do you make sure that whatever support you need, that they're adequately fed? You don't do that when people are living on the street. It's really, really difficult to figure out where everybody is every moment of the day, particularly when you need to get a hold of them. And that wore on me. And I thought the beauty of a shelter is that a human being who's a skilled professional can have a touch with everybody in that shelter every day. And it may be trying to give them mental support, mental health support, and maybe they're accessible that day, maybe they're not. But you know for sure that if they're just out on the streets, you're not going to get them any support. You have very little chance of ever reaching them. And I realized that if we could set this thing up, we would have the opportunity to give the people here an opportunity to respond to a touch, to say, yes, I do want to talk to somebody about my issues. Yes, I appreciate we're going to get support for health management. And I realized that in doing this, we're going to change the fate and the way we treat human beings in Montgomery County. I think this is something that we all should be proud of. David, you listed an amazing team of people who put this together. You told me this was a one-year project you did in 6 months, not to ask you to do it again.
Thank you.
I will not ask you to build this building again. I may ask you something else.
Yeah, no doubt.
No doubt. I sent you something today on something different. But this I think is a big moment for Montgomery County. We're transitioning from a community that said it's okay to sleep outside to a community that says it is not okay to sleep outside. We're going from a place where we knew full well the challenges people had, and we weren't willing or able to step up and meet those challenges. And today we're saying we're ready and willing to step up and meet those challenges. I think everybody should be proud of this. I hope if you're a Montgomery County taxpayer, you feel good about the way this money was spent, that you look at what we did with the resources we had, and we did something that makes us a better place. We did something that not many people have been able to do, and we did something that's going to be able to change lives. And I hope that everybody thinks about that. There's, a lot of times people look at what we do and they wonder why we do that. This is something that nobody should wonder why we did this. Maybe ask the question why we didn't get there earlier, but nobody should wonder why we got here now. So I'm going to conclude just want to convey my deep gratitude to everybody who made this possible. The council supported it, so the money was approved so we could do this. Your staff, which was amazing, your leadership on this and putting up with my pushing you on how quickly this was going to get done, and everybody else who contributes this. Those of you, Susie, you've got something that we've never been able to provide before. And when I saw those beds lifted off the ground and the little chest of drawers underneath it and the electric plugs with USB plugs next to every bed, this isn't just a place to lay a head down. It's a place where your belongings, you can put them away, you don't have to clutch them. I've seen this before. If you've ever been in Progress Place and see people sleeping, clutching their what little things they have because they're lying next to somebody in a room that's going to be dark and everybody's right up against them, to know that people aren't going to have to do that now. That if they got a phone, they can actually charge it. Not worry about walking into a coffee shop and having somebody say, get out of here, why are you here, what are you going to buy? They can do this every day. So it's little things like that that you help make possible. The people who designed this with that much thought, I really have to thank you. That you thought of details like that is a big deal. And so I'll just say thank you, everybody. And this is a great moment for you.
Just after the ribbon cutting, I do encourage you to all take a walk through the space that actually becomes a shelter on Monday. So please take time to walk through and look at those things that County Executive was just talking about. It really is staggering, particularly when you realize that on September 15th, the day before we got the permit to do this work, this was an old rabbit warren of offices. And we came in and gutted the building, expanded the plumbing, and while we're at it, we put in an elevator. This building's entirely ADA accessible. It has dining facilities, warming kitchen facilities, showers, restrooms. I'm gonna brag on those shower and restrooms. They're nicer than a lot of hotels I've stayed in. But then you don't know what kind of hotels I've stayed in. But it really is, again, I'm very proud of these folks. There's a fellow here who is going to speak next. I built a few buildings for him. He was a great customer. He's also been a great supporter, friend, colleague, and ally, and now serves as the council president, Gabe Albornoz.
Buenas tardes. What an unbelievably special day. I first want to recognize Councilmember Craig Rice is in the House today, who is also a member of the Health and Human Services Committee. Councilmember Friedson is here as well, whose district is, we're either in it or right on the line of it. But I really want to thank him for his leadership. And in a moment, you'll hear from Vice President Glass, who is, as Mr. Dice said, the lead for our vulnerable and homeless populations. And what a special day. So for 12 years, I worked on the executive branch side of this equation. For 3 years, 3.5 years, I've had the honor of serving on the legislative side of this equation. And for 7 years, I worked in the nonprofit sector for the nonprofit side of this equation. And I can say in all honesty, I have never seen us come together in such a quick fashion as I have on this project. It is truly extraordinary. But quite frankly, we should expect nothing less. Because when you think about the leadership and the dedication and the sacrifice of the staff and personnel that make this facility alive and provide the love and support of the people who are in crisis, who come to take advantage of the services here, who come to find somebody who will lend a helping hand, we should expect nothing less than a facility of this quality. A facility that provides a dignity that all of us should expect and demand for all of our residents, especially those that are in crisis. And so as we think through the circumstances that lead somebody to have to walk through these doors, we have to make sure that the facilities that we provide as a county government match the incredible services of MCCH and the other nonprofit organizations who dedicate so much of their lives and of their emotion to making sure that the people who participate in these programs don't stay long and get back on the road to recovery. This is part of a continuum that is part of a system that Montgomery County is absolutely committed to continuing to build. We have to ensure that we have permanent housing for the people that come to these facilities. We have to make sure that we provide quality mental health services and substance abuse training and programs and services for all of these residents. We have to make sure that we provide domestic violence services as well, because we know the challenges and struggles of so many that come to facilities like this. I live just around the corner from here, and that Harris Teeter up the street is a facility that I go to often. We often take my kids when we go pick up our groceries. And when we drive by this facility from now and hopefully forever, I will acknowledge what a special place this is. And the road that it took us to get here is a complicated one, but I especially want to thank Susie Sinclair Smith and her staff for their unbelievable dedication and patience as we've worked through this process. I also want to thank the Department of Health and Human Services, Dr. Kroll, Amanda Harris, and her team who really hit the ground running and put their foot on the gas. I want to really thank the Department of General Services, and I've been involved in many of these projects, also from a wide variety of angles. We've got the best DGS department in the country. There's just no denying that. And I also want to thank a few people from our council staff, starting with Linda Mcmillan, who is retiring, unfortunately. I think she came here because she needed to see this with her own 2 eyes to make sure it actually happened. But she will be leaving the council in just a couple of weeks. And Linda, we can't thank you enough. This facility is one of many examples of the legacy that you leave behind for our community as a whole. Nobody will ever know the full extent of what you've done for this county. Thank you so much, Linda. And for my team, I do want to thank Beth Schumann, who worked tirelessly on this project as well, and helped shepherd this all the way through. So this is a very special day. This is an incredibly special day, and I'm thrilled and honored to have played a very small role in the development of this critically important project, and my colleagues and I stand totally ready to not just support this facility, but all facilities like it. Thank you all so much.
Councilmember Evan Glass.
Mr. Dice. No. So the sun is shining. It is an absolutely glorious day today. I am so proud to see all of you, to be here together to celebrate this. And as has been mentioned, this is a long time in the making. I remember it was about 3 years ago, almost to the day, I got a very frantic phone call from Miss Susie Sinclair Smith that a previous facility that Montgomery County Coalition for the Homeless had occupied was no longer suitable for their needs. And how could we as a county help them? Well, the building that we're standing in front of today is the help that was requested. And I'm so glad that all of county government came together, all of our community came together, because it took a village to get this done. It takes a village to care for our most vulnerable residents. And before this facility was ever thought of, Montgomery County has been doing just that. We stand on the shoulders of so many people here in Montgomery County, from community leaders and activists, faith leaders, social service providers, and those in elected and unelected county government who recognize the dignity and self-worth that every resident has, and that these types of facilities are so important as an outward sign of our values. We know that homelessness is not a crime, and yet we need to continue making sure that those who are experiencing homelessness have every opportunity to succeed. And the building right behind me not only provides the shelter, it provides the food, it provides educational opportunities. So the village outside that helped build this is replicated inside with the holistic services that we're committed to. And I have been to every shelter in Montgomery County in the capacity of serving as the council's point person on homelessness and vulnerable communities. I have actually already been to this facility twice. I'm looking forward to the third time in a few minutes. I look forward to coming back and seeing the incredible services that this provides, making sure that we help lift every single resident in Montgomery County. We provide them a guide path on the continuum of care, and we continue putting our values and morals in our budgets to make sure that we have more of these facilities in the future. So thank you all for being here today, and thank you for your support for our most vulnerable residents in Montgomery County.
They are nice socks, you gotta admit. We never do these projects in isolation. Of course, I've told you the county executive, and you've heard from county council members and their commitment to this, but internally I always have a customer, a client. And my client, and internally, in this case I had a lot of clients, but between Health and Human Services, Department of Health and Human Services, and the Coalition for the Homeless, I had two significant clients. But internally, working with the Department of Health and Human Services, more than ably led by Dr. Raymond Crowell, it was really wonderful. The good things that you see here are because of the active input and guidance received from the Health and Human Services staff, Amanda Harris and her team in particular, and MCCH, but I'll talk about Susie to the extent that anybody can talk about Susie in a minute. But first I'd like to welcome to the mic Dr. Raymond Crowell. It's a delight. Not all my clients are a delight to work with. Raymond is good. Our shoulders are both a little moist from crying on each other's shoulders, but we're here and proud to turn the building over to you, Raymond.
Thank you, Mr. Dice. Today they're tears of joy.
Yes.
I've had two great moments this week. We had a tragedy on Thursday, as people are aware of, a fire in the county that left a lot of people displaced from their homes and in need of a lot of services. But 24 hours later, the contributions that had poured in from across the county exceeded anything that we have ever raised to support homeless families and persons who've been displaced in the time that I have been in the county. For me, it was a message about the heart of Montgomery County and the willingness of the people of this county to serve and help support those folks who are more vulnerable and who are vulnerable and have a need. Today is the second point of pride for me today. I am delighted to be a Montgomery County resident. I walked through this space. The last time I saw this space, there was a hole in the ground where the elevator is now. But it is remarkable for its humanness and its humanity and the things that we have learned over the last 2 years about how to keep people safe in an era where we're not done with the pandemic and we don't know what the future holds, but we all do know that keeping people safe and giving them a humane place to rest their heads while they work to get rehoused and get back into housing, to get their mental health needs and their health needs met. That's what's inside this place, and that is one of the reasons I'm incredibly proud.
Thank you, Mr. Dice. Thank you, David. I can call you now. Hi, I'm Susie Sinclair Smith. I'm the CEO of the Montgomery County Coalition for the Homeless. We call ourselves MCCH. We're the largest nonprofit in Montgomery County exclusively dedicated to addressing homelessness. There are many other partner providers who we work with day in and day out. We operate the main men's emergency shelter. We also have about 600 households who have moved into permanent housing who we support on a daily basis. We believe that everyone in Montgomery County deserves a safe, stable, and affordable place to call home. And we know that homelessness can be ended. And when we talk about homelessness being ended, it means that we create a system where the experience of homelessness in Montgomery County is rare, brief, and a one-time experience for people who live here. So thank you. This has been, throughout my profession, this has been one of the most joyous moments, and I'll reflect on what Amanda said about emergency shelter and the important role that it plays. But there's so much to celebrate today, and I want to start by thanking County Executive Mark Elrich for your vision. And I remember one day when you came out and just sat yourself down in my office and said, we've got to get rid of this two-season system where we're not able to continue with services, but it was clear also that we needed additional beds. And your leadership, and then the leadership of Montgomery County Council, the leadership of the executive branch, but also the council's in terms of your dogged support throughout this process, your appreciation of the work we do and resources we need has made this amazing day possible. As I said, we've expanded the number of beds to meet the demand for men experiencing homelessness from 60 to 200 beds. And all of these beds now, as I said, are 24/7 year-round beds. The design of this amazing new facility is a direct response to the challenges of operating congregate shelters during the COVID pandemic. The pandemic heightened our awareness of how much health and homelessness are intricately entwined. The cost of health crisis leads many people to experience homelessness, and the experience of homelessness can seriously impair one's physical and mental health. In fact, they are 3 to 4 times likely to die prematurely. But during COVID, our men did not have keys to their own front door and know that they could be safe from the infection when they were home. So COVID really exacerbated the exposure that people who experience homelessness have to illness. Before the pandemic, our men stayed in a congregate environment in bunk beds with 2 to a bunk and less than 6 feet from the next bed. With the support of the county, we expanded our locations from 1 to 3 locations during the pandemic to create social distancing opportunities, and also placed men in motels who had tested positive or were vulnerable to infection. Again, we are truly grateful to the Department of Recreation and the Long Branch, and on behalf of our sister Interfaith Works, the Cofield community as well, for offering your facilities during this time. Please know that you did save many lives by doing that. Before the Omicron hit, and I want to, where's Amanda? I don't know, but we all worked really hard to stay the infection of COVID. We had a 1.5 infection rate in our congregate shelters, then Omicron hit, and that was a different, but it was because we were able to locate our shelters in so many different places. You'll now notice when you tour the building that there are 6 individual beds 6 feet apart in structured pods, with the ability to isolate some pods from the general public. So that is a direct response to our recent experience. MCCH shelter program serves male county residents, majority of whom are residents. If someone from outside the county comes to our shelter, we help them reconnect to where they came from within 30 days, who in addition to experiencing homelessness also are considered low income. The majority of MCCH clients earn less than 30% of the area median income and experience challenges in locating affordable housing. Many have physical illnesses, physical disabilities, mental health disorders, or disabilities, substance use disorders, or have experienced domestic abuse, as Council Chair Albanos mentioned. In a typical year before the pandemic, 50% of the participants in our program had a disability. When men experience homelessness in Montgomery County, MCCH shelter program is often the first step for quickly resolving their homelessness. Emergency shelters play an essential role in the homeless assistance system, providing a safe place for people to land to address their crisis and then move on quickly to housing. With the data that we collect from our client, shelters are in a unique position to monitor trends such as which populations are entering the system, which are taking longer to exit, and what, for instance, racial disparities may exist in our homeless system outputs. As noted in the program, and I'm not going to read it, MCCH provides a rich array of services on site at our shelter to help our men move out quickly into housing, including case management, primary mental health care, employment, just to name a few. For those of you, and one thing that, and I can't speak more about our principals meetings and our more than weekly engagement with DGS. We are thrilled that these resources are now easily accessible at one location to all men in the program, and placed in locations throughout the building that draw client engagement. And for those of you who are here today who donate the over 100,000 meals each year to our program, you'll be thrilled with our new state-of-the-art kitchen. We are now seeing men who have become newly homeless due to employment and housing challenges created by the COVID pandemic. With new COVID relief permanent housing resources that were mentioned, MCCH was able to move a record number of 200 men out of the shelter just last year. We truly believe that we will be able to accelerate this progress now that all of our services are easily accessible on site. And finally, this awesome new facility shows what can be accomplished through a robust public-private partnership. Having operated the men's shelter program for over 30 years, we actually started it in trailers next to what was known as the dump 30 years ago. The county government engaged MCCH in playing a pivotal role in bringing our extensive operational experience to help adapt what was a large 2-story office building to a state-of-the-art facility designed to help men quickly exit from homelessness into permanent housing. Not only did this building get constructed in record time, it was a true labor of love as we learned from each other our respective areas of expertise and brought our vision into reality together. And as I've said beforehand, I'm really going to miss our weekly principals meeting. It just really, and I'm afraid I might lose some of my staff to DGS because they got so involved in it. So thank you again to County Executive Rich, also to your executive branches, both DGS and Department of Health and Human Services. A huge thank you to, and also your awesome staff, and a huge thank you to the council. I do want to especially give a thank you to the Long Branch community that housed, I think, about 60 men during the pandemic. This resulted in their not having access to their community resources. I just realized that my husband, in fact, provided work with Senior Planet at the Long Branch Recreation Center, teaching seniors computer skills and know what essential role these community centers play in their community. So it brings me great joy, in addition to this shelter opening today, to be able to return the recreation centers back to the communities. And then I would be remiss if I did not thank my incredibly awesome staff. We have about 150 staff, particularly those who are overseeing the shelter. My Chief Programs Officer, Jen Schiller, who David Dice says he might hire, but he better not. She brought the joy and love and life of our program into these design meetings. Jay Scopin, Lisa Wilson, and forgive me, our director and our operations manager were integral, and I see Ace Thompson, who worked with us for like 40 years or something, come back to visit us. It's so wonderful to have you here. But we really love what we do. We know we can end homelessness in Montgomery County. We value our essential partner as a nonprofit with the county government in this work. I now have the honor of introducing Terrence Hill. Terrence is now the lead chef at Adventist Shady Grove Hospital. And in addition to the lead chef, he also manages, which I'm very impressed because of my lack of cooking ability, he manages catering and special events and also food for the patients. As Amanda mentioned, he is a commissioner of the Interagency Commission on Homelessness and also is a member of the People's Committee. So, thank you.
I'm thankful to be in this part of the county because when I needed help, they were there for me. My story has a lot of chapters, and some of them were good, and some of them were very, very dark. The good chapter was when I was the lead technician for President Obama's both inaugurations. I worked with the Teamsters for a lot of years, and people trusted that I would get the job done. When I experienced homelessness, was one of the most darkest times of my life. When I came to the men's shelter several years ago, I was devastated. I couldn't see any light at the end of the tunnel. Even though I did, I thought that light was a train. When I experienced what I experienced only became relevant now in seeing the importance of it. I didn't know then, but I knew the shelter and the supportive housing program gave my life back to me. It gave me even more, something more important, which is hope. The shelter connected me with Cornerstone. I got mental treatment for the first time. They helped me start my recovery to manage my situation because I had developed a substance abuse problem at that time. Needless to say, I'm clean now. And I take that very seriously. Never experienced. My case manager, Don, was a good sounding board, making suggestions letting me know to take certain steps when I was ready. Abigail, the employment center, built my confidence by helping me with my resume, applying for jobs, and doing mock interviews. But by taking personal responsibility, the difference was made for me. I saw that my efforts could determine my outcome. I learned that small successes were important to me. When I could get clean and actually put on clean clothes, I felt really a lot better, and that became very important. Those little small things that we sometimes take for granted, but when they're not there, that's something to understand. I learned that my environment, it could be great. It's my perception. So I started to keep my things organized and taking care of myself. And I became more interested in self-care. The meal programs had a big impact on me. The donors brought the spirit of helpfulness and giving. That has guided me how I am now. I want to bring that kindness of service to others that they so freely gave me. At the shelter, I learned to manage my time better because I was always in front of the line first so that I could eat. It was just like being punctual. And that actually, come to think about it, just the reception from the donors and the smiles and the greetings and the warmness, it impacted my day, because it was so dark at that time. But those little things helped me along the way. When I first met Kevin, he was my case manager in the beginning. I didn't want to expect too much because so many times I expected and I got disappointed. And my days were filled with a lot of gloom and I didn't want to add on to that. But we had found an apartment for me and I was approved for that apartment. And I was moved with so much happiness and from the donors supporting me, giving me the necessary items I needed to furnish that apartment, along with MCCH. That has me choked up to this moment now. My life's chapter is good now. As I said, I am the head cook at the Venice Hospital, Shady Grove location. I started walking to work, then I bought a bicycle, and from that bicycle, I purchased a car because I learned how to save my money and be patient. So I didn't have to I want my experience to help others. I'm so proud to say I was appointed to the Interagency Commission on the Homelessness. I had my first meeting. I'm so excited to be a part of that because I truly want to give back. I've talked with Lisa very many times, who's the assistant director here at the shelter, about bringing in self-help groups for meetings that I would like to be a part of, so we talked about that. I can honestly say without the shelter and all the people and services and donors and resources, you know what, I probably would be dead right now. And it's no joke. This shelter opening will help hundreds to restart their lives just like I did. With that in mind, I want to say thanks first to God for giving me this opportunity to be here and to see this. Wow. I'd like to honorably thank yourself, Mr. Aldridge, for being here and the support and all your officials, the county government. Definitely would like to once again to thank all the donors and their support. And I really would like to thank my daughter and her husband who showed up for me today. She not only been able to show to help in my life and to recover, and also allow them to recover and to once again have that confidence in me. but without you all, I couldn't have done it. And thank you very much.
That's why you're here today. Okay, 3, 2, 1, cut.